Okay, hi everyone. I'd like to start with a short introduction. My name is Tomer from the Dharma Friends of Israel. I'll be this host of this two-day teaching with our generous teacher, Geshe Dorji Damdul. First of all, I'd like to mention that we have a translation for a couple of languages in this talk, in this teaching. You can find the translation below in the interpretation icon. You press on the interpretation, and then you can choose your preferred language. You have the main channel is in English, and we have also translations to Russian, Ladakhi, Hebrew, and Hindi. So you can choose whichever language you prefer, or stay in the main channel for English. Also, this is being streamed live to YouTube. You can go to YouTube, press DFI Israel, and find our YouTube channel along with this live streaming. The volume is my volume. Can I do something with my volume? Hello? I think the volume is on your side, so you need to turn up your volume. Okay, but let me know if I have any issues. So you can find also the YouTube the Dharma Friends of Israel channel by pressing the YouTube icon in the Dharma Friends website. This is on the top left corner. Another thing is I see most of you is turn on your camera, and this is very nice. We'd like to turn off a camera as much as possible because this makes a nicer atmosphere, and teacher Geshe Dorji Damdul likes to see the faces of the participants. And another thing, there is this course is being taught from a text. The text is on the course page on the Dharma Friends website. You can find the text course in the bottom of the page. But I will also send the text course on the chat here, so you will soon receive it, both in English and in Hebrew. Okay, so I'll start by saying that the Dharma Friends of Israel are deeply honored to host Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul for a special two-day online teaching on the subject reality as it is, healing the emotions through understanding the lack of objective existence. This fascinating program is based on the classical text, Recognizing the Mother, a song on the experience of the middle way view by the great 18th century scholar Changkya Rolpai Dorje, one of the most influential Buddhist master of his time. This song of experience, written in a lyrical and deeply personal style, uses the poignant metaphor of a child finally recognizing their long-lost mother to describe the practitioner's dawning realization of emptiness, the ultimate nature of reality. The text masterfully guides the reader through the nuances of the middle way view, making profound philosophical point accessible and experimentally relevant. It is a powerful guide for anyone wishing to understand and meditate on emptiness. Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul is a distinguished Buddhist scholar, author, and translator, currently serving as director of Tibet House, New Delhi, the culture center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. After 15 years of rigorous study, he was awarded the Geshe Larampa degree, a PhD equivalent, from Drepang Losling Monistic University. Since 2005, for approximately 6 years, Geshe served as the official translator for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, translating numerous texts and accompanying His Holiness on many international tours. He has collaborated with world-renowned scientists and scholars, including Professor Paul Ekman, on projects bridging Buddhist wisdom and modern science, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama book, Emotional Awareness. Geshe is known for his ability to present complex Buddhist philosophy, psychology, and logic clearly and engagingly to diverse audiences worldwide. He currently leads comprehensive study program, including a 6-year master course, making profound classical text accessible to contemporary students. His deep understanding, lucid teaching style, and warm presence make him an exceptional guide for exploring the depth of Buddhist thought and practice. So before I'll hand this over to our venerable teacher, I would like just to mention that this teaching, along with all the Dharma Friends of Israel hosted meeting and courses, are done by donation only, by Dana. So if you would like to practice generosity and open your heart, you can do so by going to the course page on Dharma Friends of Israel. There are many options for donation in whichever venue you prefer. And this will help us continue our activities and also allow us to conduct more of these precious teaching in the future. So, thank you very much for that. And now I would like to wish all of us a very interesting and beneficial teaching. Thank you. So we will start with the prayers. I will hand this over to the prayer readers. Cannot hear the English prayers. Okay, wait. Start with preliminaries.
So I will start again from the Refuge. So in the space in front of you, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or any other enlightened beings you regard with veneration. They are looking upon you with immense kindness and unconditional love, just as a mother looks upon her only child. Should I stop or continue? Bodhicitta field, visualize sitting on either side of you, your kind parents, mother on the left and father on the right. Additionally, you are accompanied by all other dear mother sentient beings, leaving none aside, and you are leading them in this practice. The purpose of the practice, to manifest the Buddha nature within you, while the ultimate source of happiness, by removing the two mental obscurations, afflictive obscurations, consisting of afflictions of negative emotions, contaminated karmas, and the corresponding active seeds, and cognitive obscurations, the subtle stains, inactive latencies of the afflictions and contaminated karmas. Recite the following verses while mentally invoking the profound meanings and associating experiences. Infused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma. To dispel all perverted views, to you the Buddha Gautama I pay homage. Infused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma. To dispel all perverted views, to you the Buddha Gautama I pay homage. Infused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma. To dispel all perverted views, to you the Buddha Gautama I pay homage. Taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. First in English, I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodan tokji chonam la, chantu batu dagni kyap sochi, dagi jin sogi petonam ki, tola penchil sangye dopa sho. Sangye chodan tokji chonam la, chantu batu dagni kyap sochi, dagi jin sogi petonam ki, tola penchil sangye dopa sho. Sangye chodan tokji chonam la, chantu batu dagni kyap sochi, dagi jin sogi petonam ki, tola penchil sangye dopa sho. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, by one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which prove the knowledge of all, with the specification to complete peace, which prove the knowledge of paths, those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possessions of which had subduers expand the variety of teaching. For one who is transformed into a reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector to you make prostrations. For one who is limited by way of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of vast and profound, who eternally shines forth forerunner of a light rays, to the Buddha and make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate a mind of full awakening to benefit all sentient beings. And now, we recite the Om Dharma mantra with Geshe-la's reporting.
Ayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha.
Now, the meaning of a Tendril Ningpo mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. A cessation of a cause as well is taught by the Great Seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light, and uncomposite. Such is the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of a Buddha of the three times, I pay obeisance. The four seals of a Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena of the nature of emptiness and selflessness, transcending sorrow with peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma. Likewise, the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of a vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries glooms. Instructions on parting for attachments. If you're attached to this life, you're not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have a view. Now, the Heart Sutra mantra. Geshe is recording.
Deyathāvam gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvaha tyatha om 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 gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvaha.
Tenzing Sela, Ben Tenzing Sela, shall I proceed or Tenzing Sela tell me? Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you, Dharma Friends of Israel, the director, Erith, and SPC Ben Tenzing Sela, and all the former directors, SPCs, the members of Dharma Friends of Israel, and who put a lot of effort in making this Dharma Friends of Israel successful all these many years. I truly, truly appreciate all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas with you. They truly appreciate your efforts and that your contributions are being greatly cherished, valued. And so likewise, we have yes, friends from all over with us offline, online. So with this in mind, so basically what we're doing here is that I see that many of you are more the long time, the Dharma practitioners who have been into Dharma for many years. And those of us who are new to this, what we're doing now, you may be wondering what's happening. So you don't, there's nothing to worry about. And in fact, what we're doing here is going to be a part, is going to be a very important part of what we're going to learn today and tomorrow with respect to how to expand our heart and how to discover the treasure inside. So this is what we are trying to do. And with this mind as a part of expanding your heart, and expanding your heart effectively and expanding your heart cognitively. There are two ways of expanding your heart. And with respect to how to expand the heart effectively, what are we doing today? At the moment is what it is for. And come here. And with respect to the expanding the heart cognitively, this text is an extremely profound text, very beautiful text, profound, composed by one of the greatest, the philosophers of Tibet and also in the world, the most venerable Changkya Rolpai Dorje. And this we're going to learn a little bit about him later. And so with this in mind, those of us who are new to this, you just observe us what we're doing as just symbol. So it's just to make a commitment that I'll try to be compassionate, I'll try to be helpful to other people as much as possible, and at least I'll not try my best not to harm others. So this much. So this is the key to a very simple, at the same time very difficult to practice in real life. And yet, although it sounds difficult, looks simple, practically difficult, but this only way how to expand our heart, how to make your life easier. Easier meaning that to make your life more meaningful, at ease. So with this in mind, we have I think Ben Denzing Insela is doing the screen sharing, and let us invoke the blessings of all the enlightened masters, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all the enlightened masters, and I would say particularly those beings who you consider as a source of blessings for you, as a source of inspiration for you with respect to expanding your compassion, with respect to expanding your understanding of each other, of the human beings, with respect to enriching your cognitive ability, like, say, for example, Buddha or Jesus Christ or Abraham or the Lord Mahavir or Ram or Prophet Muhammad or Baha'u'llah. In fact, I was in Israel there, Tamila and Ramila, the two of them, with the Shahalas was the director then, and he took the initiative to organize this and the visit to the Baha'u'llahs, actually it was the Bab's tomb, and the Baha'u'llahs, the place. So I was honored to have being there with Ramila and Ramila, two of them. It was the great time. So what I'm saying is that all the enlightened masters, think of all these inspirations from whom you take the inspiration of expanding your heart and to make yourself richer cognitively. Think of that. And imagine that around you, you can visualize your two parents and all of family members, even though your parents have passed away, it doesn't matter. Think of them. For example, in my case, I lost my mother when I was 5 years old, and I lost my father in my 30s. So we can visualize them with us. And the fact is that it's not about a religious concept, it's about a fact that we can later on, if you're interested, we can later on learn how to we see that our mind, there is no death to the mind. The body can die, but the mind will continue its journey. So this is the reality. And with this in mind, that your ancestors, they can take another form. And at the moment, you may see that as more like a belief system, but later on, with the deeper study of the mind-brain relationship, you'll come to get the sense that with respect to the mind, which is intangible reality, yet is so powerful, so important. Your life is determined by this mind. So this mind, you see that is something that will. So body is like like your clothes. When your clothes they worn out, and then you discard it and you get into new clothes. Likewise, your body, it becomes when I was younger, my body was so agile, and now even my eyes, we cannot see things so clearly as much as how I used to see things when I was 10 years old, and so forth. Our body is decaying, degenerating, but the mind can become younger. This is reality. Mind can become more cognitively more active. If you don't train a mind, then naturally, as the body degenerates, the mind also degenerates, meaning that the mind can become more and more sluggish. Whereas cognitively, if you keep your mind very active and physically keep your body very active, and then even though your body ages, but your mind, we see that it can remain very fresh, alert, and cognitively it can keep learning something. But the short-term memories can fade away. It doesn't matter. The long-term memories will be very firm, and you keep learning something new, and your synaptic connections in your brain, and you will have new synaptic connections created, and the old synaptic connections which you already have they'll become stronger, firmer. This is the reality. So with this in mind, we see that this is amazing. They say a journey. So with this, later on, then you will realize as your understanding goes deeper and deeper, we realize that your parents who passed away, your older generations, your children, and your husband and wife, those who passed away, actually they have not gone completely. They have not disappeared altogether. They still exist in different forms. And the fact that, for example, one time I remember His Holiness the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, just randomly made a statement, not a statement, like a comment, saying that the people around me, we don't know each other, say like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, we didn't know. And then the new circle of people, they come around us. So this all purely is not random, the random incidents. These are the karmic connection. And I remember Mr. Shukila raised hand. Mr. Shukila say in fact I remember Mr. Shukila, they're having extremely incredibly great the affinity to his teacher, the late Venerable Geshe Rinpoche, amazing great teacher. And I can see from his dynamic with his teacher, although his teacher passed away, and yes, I had the honor of having met him and had a deep sense of appreciation to this bodhisattva spirit of this great teacher. And when I met Shugila and how he felt so connected, although the teacher passed away, but in his mind, his teacher was always so vibrantly there with him. So these are the clear indication of the karmic connection. Karmic connection is not something that you have to believe in. This is something that we can gradually, as our understanding of the dynamics between the brain and the mind, when you get it very clear, then the rebirth concept will become clear. Your karmic connection, concept of karmic connection will become very clear. And the fact that we are again here, we're having a class together, and the say Eridla and Benla, two of them are organizing this program, and which is actually the legacy passed on by the earlier directors, special coordinators, and all the members who contributed really to this, flowering the Dharma Friends of Israel, all the many years, the seniors, they put effort in this. So what I'm saying is that these are not accidental. These are not random. There's a reason there. There are previous causes there. So our karmic connection. So with this in mind, let us think of the parents, even though they passed away. Think of them around you and your family members around you, including children, everyone around you. So with this in mind, let us Ben if you are there screen sharing, let us wholeheartedly recite these verses. The first person to be the beneficiary of these recitations is yourself. By reciting this and contemplating on these meanings, we see that your compassion increases and you become happier and happier and happier person. And I personally, for example, like the Israelis, so the last few years, you've been going through a very tough time, and in fact, to be honest, on both sides, extremely tough time. Likewise Tibet. The Tibetans, we have been going through tough times, and everywhere in the world there are tensions here and there. So the point is that they say, and finally we see that, and at times that the feeling of the corrosion or the feeling of the heaviness, feeling of this sometimes helplessness, this is so acute. Yes, of course. So these feelings, to what extent these feelings harm the other side? But no doubt it harms us. It harms yourself. This thing. So now these texts will help us. These aspirational bodhisattva vows, these will help us to make sure that you are not harmed. You remain very peaceful, calm, with the sanity, and then see how you can bring about at least some calmness in the minds of people around you, and then eventually to really think of long term, not just one life, many lifetimes, that you should become the leaders of the world, leaders of the whole humanity, whole world, that the world should be a peaceful world. So this is what we can think of, and all these courage, all these vision, the long-term visions will come to us through these practice, through these studies and the practice. So with this mind, wholeheartedly, and at least for time being on the level of the prayers, even though it may not be on the level of the reality, but at least on the level of prayers, at least for your own calmness of the mind, let us undertake the ceremony of taking the aspiration bodhisattva vows, and imagine that all sentient beings are with you. Okay, with this in mind, let's recite this 3 times together. The first, there are 2 verses together. Let's recite the 3 verses together. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge and enlighten to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to rescue the accomplish the aims of others, myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings to be my guests, and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practices of full enlightenment. May I become Buddha to for all sentient beings. Okay, HP on page 50 for the offline participants. Page 50, and even on the hard copies, we don't find the second and third verse. So we just have the 1 verse there, the first verse. But for the online, we have all 3. Let's recite this 3 times more, 2 times more. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolute comes the aims of others, myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, and that all sentient beings to be my guests, and shall engage in that delightful next in practices full enlightenment, may I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn I go for refuge and I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge and enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Supreme Sangha. I generate the mind of supreme enlightenment. I generate the mind of bodhicitta to resolve comes the aims of others, myself. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, and that all sentient beings to be my guests, and shall engage in the delightful and excellent practices of full enlightenment, may I become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. And just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, we will do 5 minutes of meditation, and you can choose to do meditation on any kind of meditation, whatever you like to do, you can do that. And for the newcomers who have never meditated before, what we suggest is you get don't close your eyes, keep your eyes half open, 45 degrees cast down, and focus your mind on the breath. Just focus your mind on the breath. Breathe in, breathe out, 1 cycle. Breathe in, breathe out, cycle 2. This is what you're going to count for the 5 minutes. And for younger ones who are below 30 or below 35, your breath can be like in 5 minutes, it can be like 60 cycles. And those who are elders like my age, 15, 50, 60s, it can be like 80, 90 cycles or 100 cycles, depending on the length, your health, situation of health. Okay, so with this mind, you just focus on the breath. Count the breath. Count the breath. Okay, 5 minutes, ready? Can you hear me? Can you hear me online? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. This text, recognizing the mother, a song on the experience of the middle way, experience of emptiness, by the great author, master Changkya Rolpai Dorje, and he happened to be in the early part of 18th century, 1717 AD. This great teacher. So the you come to sense that, of course, he's extremely the accomplished master, not only intellectually but experientially highly realized master. And to his credits, there are some extremely the great masterpieces, compositions on emptiness, on the 10 systems, and which are being referred to, which are being used as very authoritative texts by the big monastic universities. And while he went on a pilgrimage to China, and that was like 18th century AD, when Tibet was already very powerful. And he went to China, particularly the sacred place of Arya Manjushri, referred to as the Wutishan, the five-peak mountains, five-peak mountains. And there, of course, he himself was a greatly accomplished master of the wisdom of emptiness, and the place revered as the sacred land of Arya Manjushri, the bodhisattva of wisdom, and in the context of Tantra, is a Buddha of the wisdom. And all these conditions came together. He extemporaneously, or at extempore, he composed this short text on emptiness. So as our study of emptiness deepens, then when we read this, we'll come to sense that this is profoundly coming from his own experience. It's not just getting information from this, some piece of information from this text, that text, not like this. His own experience, direct experience of emptiness that he had. This is what is being revealed here. So this is what it is. Now, before we plunge into this, given that I can see many new faces, and if I directly jump into the text, then the seniors will be so happy, whereas the beginners or those who are new to this, you may feel a little lost. So therefore, I like to share with you a little bit of, say, the intro meaning. So why we are studying this text? Why when Ben Dizingsela, the spiritual coordinator of Dharma Friends of Israel, when he contacted me and he requested for this text. So what made him to make a request for this text? Why this text? Okay, for this we need to know the reality of ourselves and what we are seeking, and then how what we are seeking can possibly be attained by reliance on this text, by studying, contemplating, and meditating on this text. So the idea is that we need to, of course, this is going to be a very short teaching, 2 sessions today, 2 sessions tomorrow. So therefore, some of the points I may just mention this and may not necessarily elaborate. For example, the peace that we are seeking, the happiness that we are seeking, the stress that we want to get away from, and in fact, the stress, anxiety, these are the feelings which are so real, at the same time so unacceptable. we cannot really tolerate. And this is reality. And it's not just with one person, with you or me, but this is a common trait of almost all samsaric beings. And this is reality. Now the question is that whether or not there is a way by which we can get rid of this, the mental uneasiness. With this mental uneasiness, the first person to suffer is yourself. You suffer. Whatever reason, somebody else inflicted this pain on you, or your way of thinking, wrong way of thinking. So whatever is the reason, when the uneasiness is felt, you are the first person, I am the first person to suffer. So because you suffer, and then the next person to suffer is those people who truly love you. They suffer. And those people who don't love you, they are so happy. They rejoice. They celebrate. So the point is that what we need to learn is that, okay, this is reality. And then this pain is not something that somebody brings it and then throws it on you. No, it does not happen like this. There's a procedure. There's a mechanism by which it arises. We need to learn this. And in fact, it was Charles Darwin in 19th century AD. Charles Darwin, what he said is that these emotions, we cannot do anything. And today, there's some counselors or psychotherapists or psychologists who said that you have to live with this. This is the part of your life. And this is exactly what Charles Darwin would say, that these are these emotions like fear and the anxiety and so forth. These are instincts. These instincts which we inherit from the human evolution. Evolution with respect to the Homo sapiens is 0.3 million years of history, and with respect to the organisms is like, let's say, the 4 billion years of history. So it's a matter of these 4 billion years, to be more precise, how these emotions initially started from the unicellular organism, and from there it took 4 billion years to reach to such a height of sophistication. And at one point, from one side, we can say this sophistication is amazing, it's a great blessing. But on the other hand, this sophistication is very complicated. For example, jealousy. Mosquitoes, they don't have jealousy. Very sure. We can be sure of that. Mosquitoes, they don't have jealousy. But we have the jealousy, very sophisticated jealousy. And when the jealousy arises, look at the feeling, the heaviness, the corrosiveness, and everything just pulls from deep inside. Your whole energy is drained. There's one thing. And then the feeling of sadness, feeling of dejection, the feeling of the loss, feeling of hopelessness, and the feeling of the corrosion inside, hostility. So the hatred, feeling of the hate. So these feelings are extremely corrosive, and there's the first person to suffer is ourselves. I hate you. When I say this, I hate you. What is the feeling like? Are you happy? We're not happy. There's a feeling of the corrosion inside, and you are suffering. So the point is that this is what Charles Darwin said, that these feelings are bound to be there, and we cannot do away with these. This is just, you have to live with this. This is the gift from the evolution, human evolution. So we can't do away with this. These are instincts, and these are the gifts. We have to take. Without these, we cannot survive. This is what Charles Darwin said. For example, without attachment, you will not look for food. You attach to the food. You are hungry, you attach to food, you look for food. So without attachment, you will not have, you will not put effort to gather the conducive factors for your survival. Without anger, you will not put effort to get away from those things which are harmful to you. Without fear, you will not get away, you will not put effort to get away from those things which are actually coming to kill you. Like the tiger coming to pounce on you. If there's no fear, you will not run away, and then you'll be eaten up. So this is how, this is the Charles Darwin point of view. So these emotions are required for a survival. At the same time, they're very destructive. Yes, with these, you cannot get rid of them. Therefore, you cannot have what is known as the lasting happiness. This is Charles Darwin's take. Now, the Buddha, Charles Darwin happened just like 300 years ago, but the Buddha appeared 2,500 years ago. What did the Buddha have to say? The Buddha says that no, that's not correct. That's not correct. That these emotions are the instincts. Answer is yes, these are instincts. And can we get rid of them? Of course, we can get rid of them. Instincts doesn't mean that they cannot be gotten rid of. Also, do we need them for a survival? Not necessarily. We don't need them. But to be very honest, 90%, if not 99% of the human beings, 90% of the human beings, they live their life the way Charles Darwin predicted, that without these emotions, attachment, anger, jealousy, hatred, and so forth, we don't survive. Because we don't know the tools. We don't know the wisdom. We don't have the wisdom to get away from these emotions. At the same time, you can survive most effectively. So the Buddha gave this wisdom, and what we are studying here is the wisdom shared, which the Buddha discovered, fully when he was 35 years old, the time that he was revered as the fully awakened one, the Buddha, the fully awakened one. So what did he have to say is that these emotions, in fact, we are sad, we're not sad, and so forth. It's all determined by emotions, and these destructive emotions, the presence of which disturb us, these emotions can be gotten rid of successfully. And yet, we can also live very effectively without any of the side effects of these destructive emotions. So, the Buddha came up with the idea of what is known as the wise compassion. Wise connoting wisdom, and compassion, the connoting expansion of the heart, not restriction, not constriction. With constriction, suffocation happens. When you feel suffocated, just imagine somebody suffocates you. Somebody suffocates you. What's the feeling like? Say maybe for the splits of second, you'll be all right, but then gradually you'll really feel suffocated and your mind will go haywire. And this extremely undesirable feeling. So that is the meaning of suffocation. So therefore, with compassion, it expands. It frees you from the suffocation. It just eases your mind. And if we learn how to expand our compassion, we see that you feel much more at ease. That's amazing. That's amazing. So now this is one part. The second part I like to share, because I can see that there are the number of the seniors who have been into Dharma for long, for many years. Particularly for them, I like to share this, and those who are beginners, just there's no harm in you hearing this, and then they say reconsider, think more in these lines, go deeper into these lines, so that one day you will also be in a position to understand things more deeply. So what I'm saying is that say, for example, say for His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, the worst things happen. For example, like say at the age 16, he had to take the sovereign power of Tibet. He had to take the responsibility of a nation at age 16. At age 24, he had to leave his homeland to protect his people. Otherwise, if he's there, then the whole people will be crushed into blood. So to rescue that from the people, they don't want to see that His Holiness is in pain. So therefore, they are ready to give their life. 99.99% of Tibetan people. So therefore, he could see the danger that everybody will just fight till death against a very powerful, say almost like 1 billion, the Chinese. So, which means that no hope, will just crush all these 6 million Tibetans into the bloodshed. Finish. So to rescue that, his sons left. So, and the amount of the pain, sheer pain. You look at His Holiness, there's so much of smile, exuding smile. And then anybody who sees His Holiness, this exuding smile of compassion, people run into tears. So look, the worst thing happened to His Holiness, and yet he's deep inside so calm and so compassionate towards the whole world. So, wow, that's amazing. Is this a different the being? Or we also have the capacity to be one like Him? Of course, we all have the capacity to be one like Him. So the point is that what I'm sharing with you here is that in the first place, we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect ourselves to make sure that your peace of mind is not disrupted. Number one. And then this we have to think of the short term and the long term. And the long term is something, yes, of course. For example, for a nation, for the energy power, energy source of the nation, you have to build dams, which will take about 20, 30 years. And the people who plan for these, who are the architects of these dams, may not see the completion of the dam. But for the good of the nation, they have to have a long-term plan. Like with each one of us, we need to have a long-term plan that we don't, with a certain situation, we go through deep sense of pain and injury, pain, hurt. So that we become like His Holiness, where not only that you are not injured, no matter what external factors, the difficulties that you face with, you don't feel mentally injured. At the same time, on top of that, you are able to embrace all the creatures of the world, human beings, animals, everyone, ecology, everything. So this is the greatness of His Holiness. Is this something that we can do? Yes, of course we can do that. This is the response from His Holiness, from the Buddha. Everybody has that capacity. Whether you are a believer or non-believer, whether you are Israelis or non-Israelis, everybody has that potential to experience this enormous peace, no matter what external factors you meet with. Then the next question is, how do we succeed in this? How can we do that? How can we make it happen? So for this, we have to first of all, we have to see, what is the mechanism of how the miseries arise? Once you know the mechanism of how the miseries arise, then we will know how to do the miseries, because you know the process, how the miseries arise. Now we can undo the process, so the miseries will stop. So this should be our plan. And of course, it's not that easy. As I said earlier, nobler the goal, more the time taking. Let me say this once more. Nobler the goal. For example, to treat tuberculosis permanently, and to go for a symptomatic treatment of the tuberculosis, meaning with the tuberculosis you have the fever. Just to subside the fever for the next 2 hours. You don't need to go for antibiotics, go for paracetamol, go for Tylenol, go for whatever painkiller that you have, but it's just a temporary relief. But for the long term, the solution, you have to depend on the antibiotics, like isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol. You have to depend on these antibiotics, and that too over the span of minimum 6 months. So likewise, long-term plan to make sure that we become like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is that we don't feel the pain, we don't feel this injury within us when something goes wrong outside, and still continue to help the world. And the world is suffering, all because of the ignorance. This is the reality. World is suffering all because of the ignorance. So, and you becoming a wiser person, that you, in the first place, you protect yourself to make sure that you don't feel the pain. And then you share this wisdom with others to get into the ignorance, that everybody will embrace each other with love and affection, rather than push each other with hatred and anger. So this should be the long-term plan. So with this in mind, I usually tell the people who are very close to me, say some people, particularly the students, children, I would say the young ones, those who have to create their own, who have to build their career.
sitting for exams, and sitting for the exam, they see that they go into kind of the traumatic experience of the fear, insomnia, and it was really extremely painful for them. Yes, I understand it. I went through myself. I went through this myself, and most of us, we all went through this, and I can understand it. So I would tell them, particularly those people who I know very closely, I will tell them that this is where what is happening is that exam is happening. Cognitively, your mind is active. So this cognitive activity creates some processes in your brain, and this brain creates a physiological reaction. And this physiological reaction is happening on on your bodily level, physiological level. And the physiological level, then the mind interprets this. Mind interprets. So depending on the power of your mind, if the mind is very powerful, it not listen to the physiological changes. And the physiological changes will be under control. That it cannot really say can become more invigorated, and the mind can really control. Whereas if the mind is weak, what the physiological changes, say disturbance, the brain activities happen, heart palpitation happens, and then insomnia, all these things, the mind, the response to this, the way the physiological changes happen, and the mind becomes vulnerable, mind becomes weak. And because of this, the insomnia means no sleep. No sleep means they say the whole night, like 7 hours, 6 hours, you have no sleep, and your mind is so tired, constantly think of something, and the next day you are like a zombie. You cannot think, you cannot function. And then if it goes like this for the next 4, 5, 10 days, you can go into deep depression. This is going to be hazard on health. So this is because, look, it's about the physiological, the changes in the body, which is all about electrical, chemical, so forth, versus the mind. The mind, when the mind is weak, the mind has to follow this. For example, let's say that, you're listening to this talk, and then somebody says something nasty to you. Hey, what a stupid guy. And then instantly, physiologically, chemical changes. So neural firings happen at different spots. And these will dictate the muscles and the stress hormones to be released. The release, this all happen on the physiological level. It's nothing to do with the mind. This happen. And if your mind is weak, your mind will flow in this direction. Stress hormones, you'll feel stress. And then, so not only physically weak, but mentally weak. And then you say, okay, now let me close this camera. Let me close this, the class. I will stop the class now. I don't have energy. And then you just want to, I want to stand up. You stand up, you feel like sitting. When you sit, you feel like sitting, standing up. How many of you had that experience with hands? When you have a problem, when you sit like, when you sit standing up, you feel like sitting. You feel that by sitting, you'll get some ease. You sit, you feel like standing up. No, this is all because our mind becomes vulnerable to the physiological disturbance. So now the long-term plan is to make up, for example, say something happens around your place, some disturbance happens, whatever, some disturbance, and this disturbance will, the information that you get from cognitive, you get information, and this cognitive information is passed down by the brain to the different muscles, to the different hormones, and the stress hormones are released. And then you feel the uneasy feeling. With the uneasy feeling, your mind feels weak. Your mind will just flow according to this, and your mind surrenders. And then this is what is known as your mind will try to reject this feeling. But this feeling continues there because cognitively you're constantly fed with this information. And physiological, this change is constant. And the feeling is unpleasant. And the mind is trying to reject. This rejection is known as stress, because you're exerting energy, stress. And this, if it is intense, it is anxietic. If it is prolonged, it is chronic, it can go into depression. So this is how the mind works. So now the point is how to protect yourself is to make sure that we need to learn how to create a disconnect between the physiological disturbance and the mental activity. The mind should not necessarily be subservient to the physiological disturbance. This is what we have to practice. How to practice this? You have to learn. We have to first, to practice, we should gain conviction in this mechanism. How to gain conviction? We have to study this. So therefore, there's a tremendous emphasis on study. Once you study through the authoritative sources, not just books written by, the people, what is it called it, I don't know, influencers, right? Some influencers are amazing. But some, they then, for example, like, look, I'm already 58. And somebody 20 years old girl or boy come to teach me how to do exercise. And they do very flexible exercise and say that, no, do it. What do you do? I would tell them that you become 58 and then I'll check whether you can do it. So therefore, look, this is, so some influencers, they are amazing in the speaking, and they say they are great orators, and then they give the impression. And so, like, if you do what they're doing, you also become one like that. No, they have their own strength. You have your own strength. Simply because that they are good doesn't mean that you're weak. You have your own strengths which they don't have. So the point is that we have to learn. Finally, these are things that don't just be swayed by people easily. You have to get hold of the correct information. Number one, correct information, complete information, and systematic information. These three things, let's not forget it. We make sure that to create the disconnect between the physiological disturbance within you and the mental activity, to create the disconnect, that your mind does not become the servant of the physiological disturbance. We need to learn how to do that. First of all, to practice it. To practice it, we have to get conviction. To get conviction, you have to study. You have to learn how to make it happen. To learn, we need to depend on the information. Information should be correct information, complete information, and systematic information. So therefore, Nalanda studies that Tibet House we have launched in 2016. So till today, it has been extremely successful, and many people benefited out of the great legacies left by the past great Nalanda masters, like Are Nigarjuna, Bodhisattva Deva, Acharya Chandrakirti, and so forth. All these great masters, Acharya Dharma, Acharya Dignaga, Acharya Dharmakita, Arya Sangha, and so forth. These legacies we're studying, and many people benefit of this. And yes, of course, it's very authoritative, correct information, and the complete information, and systematic. So people benefit. So I'm so glad that for the Israelis, you have the Dharma Friends of Israel, and today you have Mr. Ben Tenzing Sela, and who is taking great initiative to bring the people and in the seniors plus the younger ones, the beginners, into this stream, into Nalanda studies. This is a great service for the humanity. So once you're convinced with this, then through your own experience, you go to protect the world in this life and the future lives. And in this life, say, first thing is that be yourself protected by making sure that you learn how not to be subservient to the physiological disturbance happening because of the wrong things happening around the environment. So once you get this conviction in this life, you see that you have a peace of mind. You have a peace of mind doesn't mean that you are not sensitive to the situation. You are sensitive to the situation. You know what's going wrong in the world. And going wrong in the world is one problem. And then you have the problem. You have the unease, the feeling of the corrosion, feeling of the heaviness inside. This is a double problem, loss problem. Whereas something's going wrong around us, but your mind is not disturbed. It's not loss. So now with this wisdom, you can teach at least your family members, your friends, and then people who trust you, you share this wisdom. And then say long term, His Holiness the Dalai Lama's plan for the world, which is known as universal ethics, grounded on universal compassion, universal skillful compassion. So this is His Holiness' vision for the world, and today taking the shape of what is known as the C learning, social, emotional, ethical learning for the world, beyond religion, meaning that anybody who's a religious people, non-religious, anybody practice this, and they see that they become a happier person, grounded on the confidence that grounded on your conviction in the efficacy of the universal compassion. So from this program, and then you can expand this out of compassion, out of sense of responsibility, expand this program and to bring this awareness, bring the awareness of this program to as many people as possible. The future leaders, the future leaders coming out of these programs will continue to embrace each other, all the other leaders, all the other people, and instead of the pushing others away from us. So this is hope for the future of the world, for yourself and for the world. So with this in mind, let us quickly go to the text. Okay. The text reads, it says, a song on the recognizing the mother. First, the title, recognizing the mother. Mother here refers to the ultimate reality. So the Buddha indicated that all our problems, including, for example, say laziness, including overthinking, including mental stress, or including wrong plan in the world, in the family, in the world, on the national level, on the United Nations level, wrong planning, wrong systems. So these are all big wrong has a connotation of lack of the knowledge, which is the ignorance. How to get rid of the ignorance is by introducing the wisdom. How to get rid of the darkness? It is only by introducing the light. There's no other way. Likewise, how to get rid of ignorance? It is only through introducing the wisdom. For example, one thing that I always tell people is that say at times we can go to the extremes, including the Buddhists. Not only people from other religions, including Buddhists, can go totally blind faith, which totally against the Buddha's thoughts. They think that just doing some pujas and then something will happen. No. Let me share with you two incidents. Or two. So one is the incident, and one is just a situation. Just imagine that you see that, oh, Nobel, you read the biography of Albert Einstein, and you come to know that he was a Nobel laureate in physics. Oh, you're so inspired. I also want to become a Nobel laureate in physics. Oh, okay. So now look, I'm already, let's say that young boy or young girl, I'm already in my 20s. Now I want to become a Nobel laureate in physics. Albert is amazing. Everybody respected him. I also want to become one like him. And then you pray to Buddha, Buddha, please make me a Nobel laureate in physics. And then you recite the Buddha mantra for 50 years. You're 20 years old, and for the next 50 years, all you recite the Buddha mantra, Om Manu Manu Manu, please make me the Nobel laureate in physics. Om Manu Manu Manu, Om Manu Manu, recite it 100,000 times. And for example, say the wisdom, Are Manjushri. Oh, Om Arabhasana, the mantra of the Buddha wisdom. Om Arabhasana, you recite for 50 years. I can sign, I can put my signature to you saying that you will not become a Nobel laureate in physics. 100%. I guarantee you. Okay, how many agree with me? Raise hands. How many agree with you? Agree with me? Raise hands. Yes. There's no room for blind faith to become a Nobel laureate in physics. Don't recite mantra Buddha, 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 Buddha. Oh, mani, mani, mams, oh, mani, mani, mams. Oh, no, Buddha is not sufficient. I want the wisdom. The wisdom. The physics is a wisdom. So, Om Arapasan, recited 100,000 times into many times for 50 years. Believe it or not, is waste of your time. You will not become a Nobel laureate in physics. If at all you want to become a Nobel laureate in physics, the best thing to do is, most realistic thing to do is study physics. Study physics. Physics will remove your ignorance of physics. Learning the physics will remove the ignorance of physics. This can be the only way by which you can potentially become the Nobel laureate in physics. Likewise, the Buddha taught that ignorance, don't say, Buddha, please remove my darkness. I want to read a book. Please remove the darkness. No. Light a candle or try to get a light. Somehow the light should be introduced. It is only through introducing light that the darkness can be eradicated. Likewise, it is only through introducing light of the wisdom that the darkness of ignorance can be eradicated. Only the wisdom. Okay, one time, one of my friends called me perhaps after a few years. Not called me, left a message saying, Geshe, good morning. I said, yes, good morning. Then he left a message saying that, Geshe, I had a dream. And I said, what's the dream? And he said that in the dream, before the dream, he said that I'm going through tough time in my life. What kind of tough time? So with my business. Okay, good. Then what happened? Then he said that I dreamt of asking Buddha how to solve this problem of the business. And the Buddha in the dream said that you discuss with Geshe Dorji Damdul. Then he was telling me, hey, Geshe, tell me, what should I do for this business? Because the Buddha told me to go to you. Then I said, I'm so glad that Buddha did not tell you to go to some other Geshes or some other Rinpoches. Buddha told you to go to Geshe Dorji Damdul. I'm so glad today I can prove that this dream is totally not true dream. Because if the Buddha said, if the dream is correct, I should be so happily telling you, you should do this, you should do that. I'm the right person. I'm the right person. I'll say that I have no solution at all. I don't know anything about business. In fact, this dream is wrong. It's misguiding you. I told him. So therefore, there's no room for blind faith. If you want to become a Nobel laureate in physics, you have to study physics. Don't go for blind faith. If you want to get away from the ignorance, ignite the wisdom. Don't go for blind faith. So the next question is how to ignite the wisdom. In the first place, what is wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind. Wisdom is a discerning. Don't leave anything, don't leave any stone unturned. Make sure that whatever we learn, make sure that we understand that. So wisdom, what is wisdom? You have to ask this. Don't say that, how to ignite the wisdom? Before asking the question, how to ignite the wisdom, ask this question, what is wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind. Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. Then the next question comes, what's the reality? The reality is here, the title. If you look at the title of the text, if you look at the title of the text, it says, recognizing the mother. Recognizing the mother. The mother is the metaphor for the reality, ultimate reality. Recognizing, meaning discerning the reality. The mother here is the metaphor. It's a very beautiful metaphor given to the mother of the reality. What the reality is, the metaphor is given as the mother, and discerning. Wisdom is that the mind, a discerning mind, a mind which discerns, one mind which discerns object as it exists. or a mind which discerns, or discerning mind whose apprehension of the object carries with the reality. So the mother corresponds to reality, and the recognize mother, recognize this verb is with respect to the discerning. The verb, the act of discerning. You have to discern, you have to know, you have to cognize what the reality is. That is the wisdom. So this is the meaning of the recognize the mother, this inner essence. So next question is, what is that? What is the mother referring to? What is that reality? What do you mean by reality? And reality has many layers. For example, let's say, what is this? What is this? You will say this is water, this is one reality. And I ask this to the chemist. They will say this is H2O. It's another reality. But the majority of the people, including myself, before the concept of these elements, basic elements, hydrogen, oxygen, all these, like when I was in school, the world thus far discovered only about 103 elements. Now I learned that there are more elements discovered, 106, 107, 108, and so forth. So, say before us, people did not have the idea that this water is made of H2O. But today, somebody says that, but then we'll say 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, people existed. People used water. 1.3 million years ago, the Homo sapiens used water. And even before that, 200 million years, 300 million years, dinosaurs, they were drinking water. But they had no clue that this water was consisted of H2O. Now, today the chemists will say that this is H2O, which is subtle reality in comparison with identifying this as water. Water is one level of the reality. Then the still subtle level of reality is that this is H2O, this subtle level of reality. And if you are the particle physicist, they will say that this is the hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms. And still subtler, we say this electrons, protons, neutrons, quarks. And then they go into the how, let's say how they're connected. What is that kind of the bond? Electron, neutron, what kind of bond? The proton and the neutrons coming together as the nucleus. How that is connected with the electrons, what bond? These are all being studied in great detail. These are the very subtle realities. So now, what is this electron consisted of? Thus far, physics at the point, this is it, quark, this is the end. So later on, we never know, it can go deeper. But for timing, what I'm saying is that reality, there are so many layers of realities. So recognize the mother, the text here, the title, the mother, here refers to the ultimate reality, not just the reality, but the ultimate reality. Because we are into problems because of the ignorance until for a long term, until we get rid of the ultimate ignorance, we cannot have the ultimate happiness. So to get ultimate ignorance, we need to know the ultimate reality. So the mother here refers to the ultimate reality. Next question is, what constitutes the ultimate reality? Okay, so this text is a beautiful text. And of course, as I said earlier, for the beginners, this is going to be like a movie trailer for you. Movie trailer. Okay, so now we are taken into a deep zone of, say, the vast, profound zone, which we have never explored before. So there's something there which we have to go deeper into, so that my life will be very meaningful. Because that we live in ignorance. And as long as I'm under the sway of the ignorance, I will not be happy. As long as we live in the darkness, we don't know where's the entrance to get away from the snakes around us. Only in light, we'll know, oh, there's a snake there, there's so many snakes around, we have to rush, escape. Then you know the escape route with the light. So Light symbolizes wisdom. So the wisdom means a discerning mind whose apprehension of object reality tallies with reality. And what's the reality? This is what we are studying here. And the seniors, of course, they will benefit a lot from this text. And the beginners, for you, this will benefit a lot with respect to you to know that this text will point us to a deeper reality, unfolding which your pains will be removed. Your fears of life, all the challenges of life can be removed successfully, and that you become a very compassionate person to be of good service, not be a selfish son, not be a selfish daughter, but very compassionate son, compassionate daughter for your parents, for your family members, for the world at large. And then even if somebody comes with so much anger, this person, that person, my neighbor, and so forth, that person is so nasty, so cruel, and so forth, but you'll be there, yes, you're right, you're right, you're right. And then gradually take the person from the darkness into the light of the awareness, light of discernment of the reality, that the person becomes more calm. Oh yeah, the other side who I described is so cruel, so cunning, is acting out of ignorance. So myself, when I act out of ignorance, there's so much hatred, anger coming in me. When ignorance is gone, hatred and the pain dissolves. Likewise, that person is acting out of ignorance. Like this, while likewise that person is suffering because the hatred and the anger, that person suffering. It's all because I have to now take the responsibility to see how to remove the ignorance in everybody else, including yourself, including your friends, family members, and so forth. So this is the title itself is so beautiful. Otherwise, recognize the mother. Many of us may think that, what is this? I know the mother. I know my mother. And at times people may say, my mother is very complicated. Right? So what is there to recognize the mother? But it has a very deep meaning. It's a deep meaning. Okay, with this in mind, author Changkya Rolpai Dorje. Okay, text. Okay, good. He who reveals in bear the wonder of profound dependent and arising nature. O my Guru, your kindness is indeed boundless. Kindly reside in my heart as I utter these extemporaneous words from the thoughts flashing in my mind. So, as I said earlier, this text was composed by the author, Venerable Changkya Rolpai Dorje, in China. From Tibet, he left for China for a pilgrimage in Vitishan, the 5 Peak Mountains in Tibetan, So there, he wrote it very extempore. They say first, reference to one's guru. So here, the guru, say somebody from whom you learn something, but the guru in the form of guru is to guide you. For example, who does not know where to get where to get a good bread, early morning bread, where to get a good bread, or where to get a good falafel. And then somebody says, your neighbor tells you okay, there's a big restaurant there, but it's not good in falafel. The falafel, there's a small cafeteria there. There, the falafel is so good. In fact, the first time that I was introduced to falafel was the Shukila. And that too, that the first night I spent there for the evening, Shukila said that, would you like to try falafel? I said, what is falafel? Okay, this is how I was introduced to falafel by Shukila. And I truly appreciate it. It's amazing. Still, I could remember the wonder of the falafel, that falafel. Okay, so they said that person becomes your guide to the falafel. Likewise, a person can be guide to how to get a good education, how to know physics, and so forth. There are many guides. And the guide that we are talking about here is the guide who takes you to the ultimate happiness. Ultimate is not just any guide. Guide one who takes you to the state where you experience total fearlessness and infinite happiness. That is the guide that we are talking about here. He or she who reveals and bear the wonder of the profound dependent and arising nature. So in short, what I can say is that at the present, all the experiences that we're going through at the moment, it is like what you're going through in the dream. And how many of you had the nightmare experience of nightmares in your life? Raise hands. Offline, online. Okay, Sanjayji also, and all of us. Okay, we all have the nightmare experience. Okay, my question to my question to Shaharla. My question to Shaharla is: were you scared were you scared when you had the nightmare, Shaharla? Okay, the unmute. Yes. You were scared.
Yes, very
Why
much.
were you scared? Why were you scared? It's not real.
I didn't know it's not real. It was real for me.
Yes. Okay, how many agree with Shaharla? Saying that, yes, now I know it's not real, but in the dream, I saw it as real. So, seeing the dream as real is ignorance or wisdom? Is ignorance. Was the outcome of ignorance? The fear. Okay. Let's say that Shaharla, you had the dream of let's say that you have the dream of what? Say the nightmare of flood. That you are trapped in flood and you are trying to run. So you wake up and you continue to run, or you stop running? Shaharla?
Stop running.
You stop running. Okay, you stop running. Why did you stop running? Why were you running in the dream? Why don't you continue to run when you wake up? Why you stop running? Shaharla?
When I woke up, there was no flood. There was no reason to
When
run.
I woke up, I realized that the flood which was disturbing me was a part of my dream. And the dream was just what my mind created, and it doesn't correspond to objective reality. So from this, what we learn is that everything, the Buddha taught that your anxiety, your stress, all can be stopped completely if you learn that everything is like a dream. Everything is like a dream. Don't say that everything is dream. Everything is not dream. Everything's like dream. This is difference. Everything's like dream. Everything's not dream. Okay, next question. Okay, so from this, what we learn is just the manner in which Shaharla said, in the dream, you see dream is real, that is the ignorance. And what's the outcome? The fear. So ignorance results into fear. When you wake up, you stop running. You stop running because you come to realize that the flood which was washing you, which was washing away, it was just coming from the subject. It's empty of objective reality. The moment you realize it's not real, objectively not real, your fear stops, the ease comes, you feel so relieved. You feel so relieved. Okay, so there, seeing the dream flood as not real is wisdom or ignorance? Is wisdom. And what's the outcome? The fear dissolves. Seeing the dream flood as real is ignorance, wisdom. Is ignorance. What's the outcome? Fear. So from this, what we learn is that the ignorance is the root of all forms of fears. And the wisdom is the root of all the liberation from the fears. And what do you want? You want fear or you want liberation from fear? We want liberation from fear. If you want liberation from fear, if you want to become Nobel laureate in physics, don't just pray Buddha, 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 study physics. Likewise, if you want to be liberated from the fear, cultivate the wisdom. And you want liberation from the fear and you cultivate the ignorance, it'll only drag you deeper into the fear. So we've got to do wisdom. Next question. Oh, that makes sense. What is the wisdom? What's the wisdom? So here the text reads. The text reads. The text reads. Okay. He who reveals in bare the wonder of the profound dependent nature, dependent and arising, meaning that objectively nothing exists, independently nothing exists, things exist dependently, nothing exists as real, as objective real, as independent real. Then how do things exist? They exist by dependent, profound dependent and arising nature. So whosoever teaches me this, that is the one who guides me to the ultimate happiness and ultimate fearlessness. Oh, my Guru, your kindness is indeed boundless. So, as I said earlier, there are so many gurus. There are so many, say, some gurus take us to the wrong direction, and some gurus teach us physics. Some guru teaches us how to eat food properly, how to dress properly, dress code, and some people teach us. They show us the way to your school. There are so many people, guides. Of these guides, the one who guides you to the ultimate happiness, that is the guru referred to here as the kind guru. Oh, my Guru, your kindness is indeed boundless. Kindly reside in my heart. In my heart, heart symbolizes the most precious place, spot. So you deserve the most precious spot within me, because that you saved me from the darkness of ignorance, hatred, and sadness, and deep pain to the state of fearlessness and infinite happiness. As I utter these extemporaneous words from the thoughts flashing in my mind. So now he's going to share with us so what is that wisdom which came to him through the blessings of his teaching, the teachings that he received from his teachers. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll come back in 1 hour.